Imagine waking up one morning to headlines that feel like science fiction. A mysterious illness has appeared in a small city, but officials say there's no need to worry. A few days later, it's in 5 countries, then 10. Airports shut down, grocery store shelves empty, hospitals overflow, and within weeks, the world as we know it begins to unravel. This isn't a movie plot, it's a very real scenario. One that epidemiologists, biologists, and defense experts say is not only possible and but likely. The question isn't whether a virus could end civilization. The question is, how close are we already? To understand how a virus could actually collapse the structure of modern civilization, we have to first break away from how we normally think about disease. Most of us have lived through COVID-19. We know pandemics are disruptive. But what we experienced in 2020 was not a civilization-ending virus. It was, by many definitions, a dress rehearsal. A civilization-ending virus would be far more dangerous and far more subtle at first. It wouldn't need to kill billions instantly. That's a Hollywood trope. What it would need to do is disable the systems that keep our world running. Health, food, energy, governance, information. The collapse would be systemic, not just biological. So, what would such a virus look like? Experts say the perfect storm includes several key features. First, it would have high transmissibility, meaning it spreads easily, especially through the air. Second, it would have a long incubation period, which allows people to transmit it before they even realize they're infected. Third, it would cause either high mortality or high morbidity. In other words, it either kills or incapacitates a significant portion of those infected. Fourth, it would have a zoonotic reservoir. It can jump between animals and humans, making it harder to eliminate. And finally, it might be resistant to current antiviral treatments or vaccines. You don't need all 5 to cause chaos, but if a virus checks even 3 of those boxes, we're in serious trouble. Now let's walk through what actually happens when such a virus emerges. It starts in a remote village, or perhaps a wet market or a livestock facility, anywhere humans interact closely with animals. Patient 0 may not even know they're sick. They travel to a city, then to an airport, then to another continent. The virus spreads silently for days, maybe weeks, before symptoms appear widely enough to alert authorities. By the time it's recognized, it's already in dozens of countries. Governments react slowly, first with denial, then with panic. Hospitals become overwhelmed. Healthcare workers start getting infected. The protective gear runs out. ICU beds fill. People with other conditions like heart attacks, injuries, or childbirth complications begin dying too because the system is jammed. This is the first domino. The second domino is the supply chain. As truck drivers, warehouse workers, and port staff fall ill or stay home, deliveries stop. Grocery stores run low on food. Gas stations begin to ration fuel. Without steady shipments, even major cities only have a few days' worth of food and medical supplies. Panic buying accelerates the shortage. Violence breaks out. The third domino is energy. Power grids rely on human operators. Refineries, nuclear plants, and distribution systems can't run without engineers. When enough personnel are missing, either sick, dead, or refusing to work, outages begin. Electricity goes down. Internet fails. Communication systems degrade. Then comes the financial collapse. With markets in freefall, banks shut down and currencies lose value. People can't access savings. Credit systems stop. Economies freeze. International trade halts. Governments lose credibility. Martial law is declared in some areas. In others, anarchy takes over. By this point, the virus doesn't even need to kill everyone. Society has already collapsed under its own weight. It's death by cascade failure. This isn't the fantasy of doomsday preppers. In fact, we've already seen echoes of this with previous outbreaks. The 1918 Spanish flu infected 1/3 of the planet and killed more people than World War I. The Black Death in the 14th century wiped out an estimated 30% to 60% of Europe's population. And most recently, COVID-19 shut down global travel, disrupted supply chains, and stressed healthcare systems to the brink. with a fatality rate well under 1% for most groups. Imagine what would have happened if COVID had a 10% fatality rate, or if it were more infectious in children, or if it spread silently for months. And what about synthetic viruses? That's another layer of risk we've never faced before in human history. With modern gene editing tools like CRISPR, we now have the power to design viruses. Some of this research is done with good intentions, to study vaccines, to understand threats. But what happens if an engineered virus escapes a lab? Or worse, is deliberately released? A single group of bad actors with the right knowledge could create a pathogen capable of causing unprecedented damage. You no longer need a nuclear arsenal to be a global threat. Just access to biotechnology. So, can we stop it? The good news is yes, we can, but only if we take action before the crisis hits. Stopping a civilization-ending virus means building what experts call pandemic resilience. This includes faster global surveillance, AI systems that monitor unusual patterns of illness, and detect outbreaks days or weeks earlier than humans can. It also means improving international cooperation. Pandemics don't respect borders. If one country hides information, the whole world pays the price. We need universal vaccines, that is, vaccines that work across entire virus families like influenza, coronaviruses, or filoviruses. These would give us a head start before the virus mutates. We also need medical stockpiles, personal protective equipment, and rapid manufacturing capabilities that can scale in days, not months. But perhaps most importantly, we need public trust and transparency. If people don't believe in science or institutions, even the best tools won't work. Misinformation kills. And then there's the wild card: biosecurity in synthetic biology. As more labs gain the power to edit viruses, we must put safeguards in place. Automated kill switches, restricted access, rigorous oversight, and international agreements similar to nuclear treaties. Because the technology that can save us could also destroy us if misused. We don't have to live in fear, but we do have to live with awareness. Civilization is strong, but not invincible. It's a fragile web of systems that relies on constant balance and cooperation. A virus doesn't need to be intelligent. It just needs to tip the first domino. We've seen what happens when the world is caught unprepared. The next time, the stakes could be much higher. The truth is, viruses don't think. They don't plot. But if we ignore the science, the warnings, and the history, we'll be the ones writing our own extinction story. Not in centuries or decades, but maybe within our lifetime. But here's the good news. We can write a different story. One of preparation, one of science, one of survival. If you're watching this, you're already part of the solution. Stay curious, stay informed, and never underestimate how quickly everything can change. Because the virus doesn't have to win. We just have to stay one step ahead. If you like this content, remember to subscribe and like.